But she blew me away. I thought she was incredible in the ring. She's just very, very technically sound. First of all, there's that. I'm a huge fan of Serena Deeb. But even bigger fan of Thunder Rosa. My goodness, that woman can wrestle. She was excellent. She had great intensity. She has a cool look. She is money. She's money, and Tony Khan better give her all the money. She is where it's at. And I'll talk about breathing new life into a women's division. My goodness, Thunder Rosa. I was thinking like, okay, Charlotte, she's kind of like the gold standard. Tessa Blanchard, gold standard. She might be the best female wrestler on the face of the planet right now, Thunder Rosa.
Wow, man. And that's just is that the first match you've ever seen of her too?
First time I've ever seen a wrestler. I've seen her wrestle, and I was blown away.
How about that, man? And okay, this wasn't meant to be a plug, but I interviewed Thunder Rosa yesterday. So I got to speak with her about the match and all that stuff. And I tell you what, the fire and the passion that she brings is not just in the ring. It's like this is who she is, and she just goes at it. And like, I can't wait for people to hear this next week. I wrote a little bit about it. I transcribed the first part about it, about her talking about this match and talking about All Out for this weekend that people can read on WrestleZone.com. So you can check that out. But holy smokes, man! Like, if once you hear this interview and everything, she brings that. That's the attitude that she brings outside of the ring in life that she does. And she's spinning all these different types of plates outside. Like, she's running her own wrestling promotion. She's wrestling for NWA. She's doing all these other. She's MMA. She's an MMA, so Combates America and all that stuff. So, but to see her, and it set a really important tone for women's wrestling and AEW, I think, in general moving forward. I think this should really be an eye opener for AEW and be like, okay, she's got to be one of our top stars that really pushes the product forward, because her and Serena Deeb, even JR said it on commentary. I don't know if you caught it, but he was like, he pretty much admitted this is the best women's match AEW has had yet. And yep. I think it's inarguable. Yeah, like, you can't argue it.
He came back and he said, and we've had some great ones. Like, said, you guys are all wonderful, but this is where it's at. And clearly he was just like being diplomatic. No, Dom, it's not even close. The other female, the ladies wrestling matches in the company thus far. Nope, not even close to the level that she's at. And you could see that Britt Baker came out, and she came out with a little more intensity this time after following that match, because I think that she sees somebody like Serena Deeb Serena Deeb as well, but also Thunder Rosa. And she's like, I better step my damn game up, because these women are bringing it. And Serena Deeb, she's fighting for a job. And she was very, very good. I could 100% see her being like a big name in pro wrestling. If Tony Khan signs her and backs her. But man, Thunder Rosa, unbelievable. It's very cool that you got to interview her. I would encourage everybody to check that out. Check out the article that you wrote about it. It is on both of our Twitters right now, so you can go dig that up. But yeah, man, you are looking at the future of female professional wrestling, and it is 100% Thunder Rosa.
I'm telling you, once that audio drops, you folks gotta listen to it, because you'll get everything about Thunder Rosa that makes her a star. And
one of the most intense drop kicks I've ever seen in pro wrestling, male or female.
Dude. And so what you don't know about Serena Deeb is she was in the Straight Edge Society. So that was CM Punk's Charles Manson cult. That was her.
I remember that. That was her. Okay.
That was her. So she's, and it was so awesome to see her back in the mix of things, because I think the last time she wrestled was in the Mae Young Classic back in 2016 for NXT. And so she knows her way around a ring, and I think she has a presence about her. But that, back to what you were saying, where you saw that Britt Baker kind of brought a little bit more of a fire in what she did in her segment. And you know what? That's what you want. That's what you want, whether you're in the men's or women's division, is you want that kind of competition. Somebody like Thunder Rosa coming in and elevating the game of everybody, putting everybody on a wake-up call, because this is what wrestling should be like. Not just women's wrestling, but wrestling in general should be like. And for that, for you to be able to have a star like that, I think that was invaluable for Tony Khan to do that. And you know who suggested this to bring Thunder Rosa in was Kenny Omega. So,
well, Kenny hit the nail on the head because she is incredible. And yeah, man, Serena Deeb, I think that she kind of put the girls on notice too, because like just very technically sound. Like they weren't focused on doing any of the fancy stuff. They were focused on on mat work, on like wrestling, and like that's honestly that's why I watch. I don't watch to see all the planches and tope suicidas and all that stuff. I want to see like some wrestling. I want to see people getting physical, and man, they showed it. It looked like a real fight many times. And like just a couple of very tough and technically sound girls out there. And man, I'm excited to see more.
I am too. I'm pumped to watch it for All Out this weekend. I'm pumped to cover it. It's going to be a really fun show, and I think that match in particular, her and Hikaru Shida, who, I'm going to make clear too, presence of personalities are there in the women's division. Personalities are certainly there. You have Big Swole, you have Hikaru Shida, you have obviously Britt Baker, and Anna Jay. She's making some waves here too. But you want that other element of women's wrestling in there, and
Presence, yes. Personalities, not so much to me. Like Britt Baker, I think has got a big personality. Hikaru Shida, nope. Like she just comes
You
out.
Don't think so? I think she does. I think she has a personality. Like it's not one that so she's from Japan, so it's like it's a different type of personality that isn't like, okay, wow, I'm really latching. It's a personality. Her presence is there, I guess. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think she's showing a little bit of personality. I don't think that's necessarily too far off.
Well, let me just say that Thunder Rosa came out and she showed all kinds of personality without saying a damn word. She showed you could see her passion the way that she wrestled. Like she is very, very passionate about the business, and like man, she's where it's at.
Yeah.
Dom, but before we get too far away, I don't know if you have it in your agenda to talk about. I did want to see what you thought about Mark Sterling and his debut AEW match. Indie talent posing as a lawyer. Obviously, he's part of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, which is great. So what did you think of him in kind of the silly segment with John Moxley?
So I thought overall the segment was good. I thought, and some of the comedic stuff, I kind of thought lingered a little bit long in what it was done. I thought Sterling handled himself very well in his role and did what was supposed to be done. But like it comes to a point too where you also don't have a crowd there to react. You do have a crowd, but you don't have as big as a crowd as you should to react to like comedy segments. So I think some of that kind of floated there, where maybe when you had a live crowd in, it wouldn't be as like as obvious, that it's kind of like, okay, this almost needs to finish up here. And I think they did it just at the right time. But overall, I thought Sterling, he did a good job. I certainly like him in his role as a lawyer, and I'm not against him like being a regular on television for that matter either.
Just imagine how nerve-wracking it would be. You've only done indie shows. He's with Creative Pro Wrestling, which is Brian Myers' thing. Obviously, he's got some skill and he's great on the mic. But just imagine going from being an indie wrestler, very, very small crowds, to now you're in the ring on national television against like the guy who's just number one on PWI 500.
Right, like, he's number one.
It would be very, very intimidating.
Yeah.
He held his own. I thought he did a great job. It reminded me a lot of Jim Cornette, old school Jim Cornette, where he's wearing his stupid wrestling gear and he's like very clearly outmatched. But like here's the big difference is that like so Jim Cornette months and months, maybe even years ahead of time, I don't know. He was building himself up as this cocky, like mama's boy, like rich guy looking down on everybody. And like, so by the time he finally got into a wrestling match, the people were bloodthirsty. They could not wait to see Jim Cornette just get ripped apart. Whereas with smart Mark Sterling, steal a phrase from Scott Steiner, he got a little too much sympathy. A little too much sympathy on Smart Mark this time around because as he's like begging off and as he's showing he doesn't even know how to make a fist or whatever, I was like, is John Moxley really gonna kick the crap out of this guy? Because like that would be like seeing like the cool kid at school like beat the crap out of like a middle schooler.
Like a cocky middle schooler. You don't want to. I mean, yeah, I understand the kid's got a little bit more development to do, but
all of a sudden the cool guy at school is less cool because he beat the crap out of a kid who couldn't defend himself.
No, overall, I thought, he's great in his role as the lawyer, and I'm sure you can keep him in the mix in some form or fashion. Yeah. We mentioned this. You don't want to see those planchas and suicidas and everything like that.
Not as much.
I immediately thought of you in, I believe it was the opening match, wasn't it? It was the 4-on-4 tag match with the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express going up against SCU and, Private Party, Marcus. And it ended up being the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express winning, so they'll be facing one another at AEW All Out. Let's get your thoughts. You've expressed yourself, and previously about Luchasaurus, and you've turned heel a little bit on the Young Bucks too in the past couple of weeks. So, what are your thoughts on this particular match on Dynamite, and what are your thoughts about it going into All Out?
Well, I obviously you know how I feel about the match. I thought it sucked. I thought it was like a bunch of stupid setup spots, not entertaining. I don't know what the Young Bucks are right now. Are they baby faces? Because they just took a sign from a fan, ripped it in half, and then dumped a beer on the fan.
Did they dump a beer on him?
Yes. So that is not a babyface move at all. But FTR, their opponents, they're being positioned as heels. So like, it doesn't.
They're not their opponents. They're not facing FTR. They're facing Jurassic Express.
Oh, that's right. But FTR is their theoretical future opponent, where it's like that's what we're building to, right? Where they hate FTR. They hate that Hangman Page is like it's kind of like siding with them, or at least it appears to be so.
Well, he screwed him over. He screwed him over in their match.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we can all see where this thing is going, right? Like, Hangman Page is going to turn on Kenny Omega at the pay-per-view, at All Out, and then FTR is getting the belts, and then Hangman is going to join FTR in Tully. I think that's where we're headed. Mark my words.
Mark Sterling, your words. Mark Sterling, your words.
Mark my words. I think that's what's going on. But so we're building toward this thing where it's like very clearly going to be FTR, a heel team, and the Young Bucks. So that's the direction we're for sure pointing in, because that's the whole argument, right? Who's the best tag team in the world? And so, okay, how is anybody going to root for the Young Bucks if they're showing that just a fan who's like happy to be there, enjoying himself at ringside, he gets his own beer dumped on his head and his sign ripped? Like you are an asshole if you do that to a fan. So like immediately to me, I'm seeing that I'm like, I fucking hate the Young Bucks. They're douchebags. But and like, so on top of that, it's like to compare the two tag teams, it's apples to oranges, right? Where FTR is a very experienced, like technically sound, like old school tag team, and Young Bucks are like this new wave, like no psychology, just jumping around crap. And so like they're always saying like, I'm the best in the world. No, I'm the best in the world. It's like maybe you guys are the best in the world at your respective things, but like to compare you guys as a tag team is you can't do it.
All right, so I'm kind of not with you on certain things of this. I thought for the match, for what it was, yeah, it was your typical kind of match that we're used to seeing. But there was some good highlights in that. And I think, but it didn't have necessarily too much to do for me personally with the Young Bucks or Jurassic Express. I was really impressed with SCU, like Kaz and Christopher Daniels. I thought they did a very good job. Kaz especially. I mean, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I would love to see Kaz go singles competition. And I thought the moments that he had in the ring were just amazing and just really stood out. And then Daniels, being 50 years old and being able to do what he's still able to do, he still does an amazing best moonsault ever. He still does all that stuff. So I think a lot of that stood out to me. But and also on top of that, you didn't get to see all of last week's. So there was this. Did you happen to see the segment where they kicked out Adam Page out of the Elite? Did you see that?
I did not, but I heard about it.
Okay. So that's kind of an element you're missing about them. Maybe now, should they dump the beer on the fan? I don't think so. But like tearing up a sign and showing their frustration over Hangman, I think is another thing. Where I can buy into that. But and I feel, and on top of that, I don't think this is outside of the match. I don't think Hangman is turning heel. I don't think he is. I think he's too well positioned as a babyface and set up throughout this whole year to be a pretty big darn star for them to turn him heel. I don't think it's there. I think I feel, and I said this last week by myself, Kenny Omega is going to turn heel. I don't think it's going to be Hangman. It's going to be Kenny Omega.
I'm thinking Hangman, dude. I think all of this. Did you notice like he has makeup around his eyes to make it look like he'd been crying? So
yeah.
All of this is like very, very like on the nose to me, where it's like, okay, we're getting swerved right now. It was all just like very obvious kind of like behaviors where I was looking at it saying like, okay, Hangman Page is about like, I don't think that the Young Bucks are going to turn heel because I don't think that they view themselves as heels. I think that Adam Page this is all leading to him. The only way that they're going to lose to FTR is by some fuckery, and that's what's going to happen. Where Hangman Page is going to turn on Kenny.
Nope, I feel the opposite way. I totally feel the opposite way. Yeah, I don't think we don't want to swerve. I just want a good story told. I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, they pulled a fast one on me. I don't care about that. I feel for a long-term booking perspective, you want to position Adam Page as a top baby face. And that might even go to your point for MJF winning the title too, is like, who would be a perfect foil for him is Hangman, a babyface Hangman going up against him eventually, if you stay the route of maybe making him what he was throughout these past several months. Now, with Omega in that segment, I liked that segment. I liked that segment a lot with FTR and Hangman. I did not like how Omega delivered himself in that segment. I don't know how you felt about it, where he's talking down. He insults FTR, but he took a dig at Tully, which was like, it seemed pretty juvenile, like calling him like, oh, he's got Depends or whatever, and I'm just like, come on.
I don't think I think that guys like the Young Bucks and Kenny, they're very good in the ring and they're good entertainers. Sometimes I wonder if they really understand like the psychology part of the business, where like like back in the day, it was supposed to be that if you're a baby face, like you treat old people and kids, you treat them all with respect, you treat all the fans with respect, you love the fans. Thankful that they're here. That's why they buy your merch, is because you're so thankful that they came to see you. They're your family. And so then there's Kenny Omega, and he's like insulting old people. That's right, and like just acting like kind of a pompous douchebag in the ring. And then like the Young Bucks are tearing signs of their fans who paid money to be there. Theoretically, like obviously that guy was a setup.
He was there, yeah, plant.
Right.
Yeah.
But like in theory, they're like, this guy paid money to be there, and the Young Bucks are tearing their sign and dumping a beer on his head. Like they see themselves as being intense baby faces, and the rest of the world sees them as just being assholes.
There's certainly now, if again, and this is part of the problem, I think too, is like if you watch Being the Elite, you get more of the story, but many people don't watch Being the Elite, so the majority of your audience isn't getting the whole story. Because like if you watch Being the Elite, you like guys like Nick Jackson, you like guys like Matt Jackson, because they show their personalities on there, and you're like, oh my god, that was funny, that was a good segment, and different things like that. And they do a good job at kind of like tongue-in-cheek kind of things and little things like that make you want to root for them. But if you're not watching that, which is the majority of your TNT viewing audience, you're not getting the whole kit and caboodle here. And so it's just like, you want to find the balance of making this right. And you know what? Ultimately, I think it's going to be Hangman and the Young Bucks are going to get back together in some form or fashion. They're going to find a way to unite, whether it's against Kenny, who might break bad, or some other factor coming into play, whether it's FTR, who really ran down Hangman in that segment. So, I mean, there can be that moment of them beating that mutual understanding. And so I'm really thinking it's going to be the Young Bucks and Hangman aligning with one another, and maybe Kenny Omega is going to break bad. If he's going to join up with FTR, who knows? But we're going to see a heel Omega, I think, rather than a heel Hangman happening. So that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts.
I disagree, and I think we should make it interesting, Dom.
Okay. What? Oh, I'm always up for a wager, dude. I haven't been. I was telling Mom today I really wanted to go to Vegas, and I couldn't go to Vegas this year. So I'm fucking up for a gamble. Let's fucking lay something on the line here. Hit me.
Quit swearing at me. How about $10?
$10.
10 bones, Dom.
Or why don't we make it a little bit more interesting?
A beer next time we see each other.
No, that's cowardly. A beer next time. Come on, that's ridiculous.
What?
All right, I'm game for the $10, but this is what it is. Is the $10 has to go to something one of us wants on eBay. It can't be just $10 cash straight up. It's going to be something worth $10 on eBay. All right, wrestling related.
All right, but like, what if neither of our scenarios happens and nobody owes anybody anything?
Well, how's that going to happen? So
I'm saying Hangman Page is turning on Kenny Omega. You're saying Kenny Omega is turning on Hangman.
Let's say it this way, okay? This is the ultimate thing, okay? You're saying...
Can you back away from your fucking camera, please? You're freaking me out.
I'm getting intense, all right? I want to gamble. Let me gamble. Okay. You're saying Hangman's turning heel. I'm saying Omega's turning heel. That's the bet, okay? So It doesn't necessarily mean they turn on one another at this point in time. One of them's turning heel. Okay. I think that's going to be a 50-50 bet majority. If by some miraculous reason neither of them turn heel, then I don't know. Then the bet's out the window, okay? But
all right.
Otherwise, that's our wager, okay? That's our wager. Okay. Hey, fair enough. Now, what I wanted to add on to that, Luchasaurus, you're over him. You don't like how he presents himself, not being a big man, doing the flips and stuff, which is impressive, and it's impressive. But I get your point. I'm kind of with you on it in a lot of ways. I think they kind of, but against that point, he got some chance by that live crowd there in Daly's place. So the live audience is there. So, and to add on to that, NBA were plugging Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller. Were plugging AEW All Out this weekend during the playoffs, NBA playoffs. And just as a complete aside, Reggie Miller said his son's favorite wrestler is Luchasaurus. And then Kevin Harlan said, yeah, my boy or one of his relatives loves Jungle Boy. That's his guy. So they're there. So I think in a lot of ways, the audience or lack thereof that we've had for these past several months has really affected the ability for the Luchasaurus specifically to get over. So, and that's against kind of what I'm saying too, is we want to see something more from Luchasaurus, and I think something different. But it's still there.
Here's the point, Dom, and the point is that yes, a guy like Luchasaurus is going to get over, especially to kids and on smaller scales, because he's enormous and he's got a very unique look. So those are great things. I'm talking about his longevity, where he's going, and how you could best treat him to make him a star in the business. and the path that he's on right now is not it. I truly believe that Luchasaurus would benefit from a heel turn and a bit of a change, where like let's have him go heel on Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. Let's have him rage out and go do his own thing, and let's show him being a big man, like a big like he's this giant guy. He's super muscular. Like we don't need to see him doing his flips. What we need to see for like that kind of stuff every once in a while, kind of like how it was very impressive when the Undertaker would do the old school and he'd walk the ropes. Like he would do that once a match, and it was cool. So like if Luchasaurus does like a standing backflip on a downed opponent once a match, awesome, love it. But like that should be about it. He can get over. He can get over, but he's got to be a big nasty monster heel, I think, for it to really happen. And I think that he's got to lose the whole like I was born 65 million years ago crap.
It's tough because I think if you put him as a heel, you position him as a heel, in the long run, that would be good. But, you know, you do have those kids that are like, okay, and I like that this is my guy, and I really like Luchasaurus. And it's understandable why they like Luchasaurus, too. And they're not thinking from a storyline or storytelling perspective or anything like that. They're thinking of the guy's a dinosaur, he's big, and he does crazy shit, and that's awesome. So they're thinking from that perspective. And I don't think that's something that people should really dismiss, even if you are getting the main 18 to 34 demographic. You want kids into it, too. Like, all those figures that are at Walmart that people are scooping up, like, they're super popular. People are loving them. And you and me know both how we got into wrestling were figures. Like having those bone crunchers, having what's got us. So, I mean, you need to have somebody like that. I wouldn't turn him heel. I would not, because if you're doing that, the kids can look back on somebody like Jungle Boy. But I mean, the guy's a dinosaur. So obviously it's going to attract kids. It's going to get kids. So just position him differently. I don't say turn him heel. I say position him differently. Make him evolve for a dinosaur. Make him evolve. If you will, Daddy. So, that's my thoughts on that.
Like, I see your point, especially from a marketing or merchandising standpoint, where it's like, hey, this guy's going to sell a ton of merch to kids. Kids love him. He's a dinosaur. He's big. He's fun. Like I get it. I guess I've been looking at it from like a pro wrestling standpoint, not like quite the merchandising standpoint, where I'm just like, man, this guy could get over. Like all he's got to do is like stop with some of the silliness and you become like a very serious, nasty heel. And I could see, he could be headlining pay-per-views, but like he's made for kids, man. He comes out with the green tongue. He's got the mask, like crazy tattoos, crazy body, crazy moves. So like, yes, he's perfect for kids. It just does not have legs, and I don't see it going much further than that. So like, what's he gonna? He's gonna be like Bruno Sammartino in the '80s, right? Where you like roll him out, like once every other pay-per-view or whatever, and give him a match, and that's it. He sells some merch and has some pictures with people. Like that's about his future as it stands right now.
Yeah, they need to work on him, and I think they need to develop him. But I would keep him babyface for sure. All right, Mimosa Mayhem. We were pretty down on it. Honestly, from the perspective that I took when I was covering it on Wednesday, I really think they brought it to a main event level. Like almost the vat of orange juice seems secondary to what they're doing. And I think Jericho squashing Joey Janela was the perfect way to get that point across. Blooding him up and then like taking his blood and wiping it on the Orange Cassidy shirt, like to symbolize, hey, that's what's going to happen to you. I thought was freaking awesome. And I thought really put home more of an intense point that this third rubber match needed to get to the level that they want it to be at for All Out. And so it really did wash away the vat of orange juice to the side of the ring. So that's just an added element where it's the two guys going against one another that I'm more intense on and more ready for than, okay, somebody's going to go in that vat, but the end game is what these two are going on one.
Do you hear what you're saying right now, Dominic? You're like, man, like this intensity, like the blood on the shirt, and it's like this. It's the rubber match. Here it is. Like they're finally gonna do it. Like we're gonna see who the better man is once and for all, because the losers get thrown into that vat of mimosa. Like ridiculous, Dominic. Absolutely ridiculous.
I don't feel so. I don't feel that way, man. So, okay, what are you saying? So you are still not sold? Is that the thing? Is that you're just like...
I'm saying that everything that you have said, so like leading up to the whole, and then the vat of mimosa at the side of the ring, everything you said leading up to that, Jericho wiping the blood on the shirt, squashing Joey Janela, like wanting Orange Cassidy to see what he's capable of. Awesome, good stuff. And now at the pay-per-view, cage match, Hell in a Cell, like how about a cage with like a roof on the top? Like just like nobody gets out, nobody gets in. Let's really see who the better man is. Just like a throwdown of a fight. Not like, let's see if I'm able to throw you in a vat of mimosa before you can throw me into one. Ridiculous. Absurd.
But I don't think that... I think it all depends on how the story is told, Marcus, because you can win by pin, you can win by submission, or you can win by throwing the guy in the vat of orange juice. I think it's going to be the...
Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's Dominic. The vat of orange juice is
Chekhov. And we said that. Chekhov's mimosa, okay? We said that. But it's gonna be somebody's gonna win by pin or submission, and then that person is gonna get thrown into the vat. That's what's gonna happen. It's not gonna be...
Even so, let's say that somebody does lose by pin or submission. It's like you don't get the victor standing over him like, yes, I got him. You get that person then being flung into a fucking vat of mimosa. Like it's like a vat, Dominic. This is like 60s Batman shit. So you sling somebody into a vat of something that nobody wants to be in. It's ridiculous.
They sold me on it. They didn't sell me on that. They sold me on the blood feud between the two. That's what they sold me on. And I think if they handle it right,
first blood match. I would love to see a first blood match. I'd love to see a cage match. I'd love to see a ladder match. Like, not somebody being flung into a vat of like an alcoholic drink you have with breakfast.
I'm okay with it. They sold me on the matter of me buying into that they can finish the story well off in a good manner than what they had the week before.
I hate it, and you'll never change my mind.
Good. Well, I think you suck as a person, Marcus.
I think you suck.
Well, you know what? So what might not suck, though, and I think it's a pretty cool match. It's kind of undertoned a little bit, but was the match that we were talking about a little bit, was the tag match between the Dark Order against Dustin, QT Marshall, Scorpio Sky, and your boy Matt Cardona. What do you feel about that match? Brody Lee's going to be involved in that. He's not defending the TNT title. So how do you feel about all that going in? And I thought the package that they had for it was good and a good setup to start several feuds that may be stemming from this tag match at All Out.
I think it has the potential to be good. They've got to do a couple things right, and those couple of things are, you want to establish Scorpio Sky as an upcoming singles talent, and you want to establish Matt Cardona as a potential force, because Matt Cardona, whether he's Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona or the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting, as he calls himself, he is a brand of a human. So his entire existence right now is a brand, and you have to take advantage of that brand by showing him, like putting a light on him during a match like this. So they've got to do that right, and they've got to have a heavy focus on Scorpio Sky, which is a pretty easy thing to do, right, with a match like this, because you've got QT Marshall or whatever his last name is. You've got him, and it's like his whole thing is like he's this kind of underexperienced, almost like a job guy. He's like modern Barry Horowitz. So you've got him, and then you've got Dusty Rhodes, who's kind of older, right? And so maybe outmatched because he's not quite as quick as the younger guys. So it's going to be really easy to get heat on those two, and therefore shine a light on guys like Matt Cardona and Scorpio Sky. And whether or not they'll do that is one thing or the other. Let me tell you, if Matt Cardona gets pinned during this match for the loss, I am going to be pissed off because like, why even bring him in? Why make Scorpio Sky a single if you pin him during the match? You know, it doesn't matter who wins this match. I don't think it's going to hurt either brand. But like, it is very, very important to start establishing A, Scorpio Sky as a single, and B, Matt Cardona as a brand that is joined with AEW.
I agree with that for sure. I want to get your prediction real quick too. We didn't get one. Who's winning the Mimosa match? Orange Cassidy or Chris Jericho?
Like I said before, I can't picture Orange Cassidy going into the vat of Mimosa. So, you know, that being said, I'm going to say that Chris Jericho is going to win in old school Hulk Hogan fashion, where he gets his win back, brother. Which by the way, he's reminding me more and more of Hulk Hogan in the coming years. He's obviously still more technically skilled than Hulk Hogan, but like he's just this is the Yappa Pie Indian strap match era Hulk Hogan right now.
There's a little bit better storytelling, I think, in this match than the Yappa Pie.
Is there?
There absolutely is. Wednesday was the perfect example of that. So
I disagree. But
okay, all right, Marcus. All right, so Jericho, you're saying is winning. Is that what you're saying? Is he winning?
He's gonna get his win back, but then he's gonna wind up in the vat.
Okay. All right. I'm going Orange Cassidy. So my thoughts. All right. This is it. This is unless is there a particular other bout or something I'm missing or that you want to touch upon before I close it out with this final question going on here?
Nope. Fire away, Dom. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. All right. This is it, Marcus. Brock Lesnar, free agent. He's not signed with WWE. He hasn't been for months. If you were Tony Khan, he asked for a big price tag, a mighty big price tag. Would you bring in Brock Lesnar? And if you were to do that, how would you position it and what would you do?
I've thought about this. I don't think I'd spend the money on Brock Lesnar. As much as, he's great, he would want to be a part-timer, just like he is with WWE. And the asking price is going to be too much. So if I were Tony Khan, I would pass on Brock. As much as I would love to see Brock Lesnar help elevate AEW, he's just not going to be there enough. He doesn't talk really. He's not going to get on the mic.
He's a good talker. He's a good talker though. So I don't feel that that's something that we didn't have to see in WWE because of Paul Heyman.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Paul Heyman is not going to be there to help shine a light on Brock Lesnar as he did. He was very, very good at that. So, if it were me, man, I would take that money, that Brock Lesnar money, and I'd be trying to tempt CM Punk.
Yeah, I would. That's a good point. I would much rather have a CM Punk than I would have Brock Lesnar at this point in time.
A full-timer who's still young and still motivated to chip on his shoulder when it comes to pro wrestling. Yep, he's who you spend the money on. Or, I don't know about his Legends contract. Let's get Stone Cold in there for a few appearances. Why not?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Because, obviously Austin's not going to wrestle, but you bring him in for a couple of appearances. Would that have way more of an impact than bringing in Lesnar here and there for a couple matches? That's what I'm wondering.
I think it has the potential to. I mean, if you say Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be appearing on AEW, many people are going to watch. I mean, it's same thing with Brock Lesnar, though. Same thing with CM Punk. Or, name a guy who's out there that you could maybe get. Like Batista, maybe? I don't know.
Batista be good. Yeah. I mean, Big Dave, I think he's done with wrestling, but I think he would be a neat presence to have on there. I said that when AEW first started out. If you're roping in folks like that, why the hell not bring in somebody like Batista? No, you know what? I'm kind of with you. I feel like Lesnar, would be nice to have. I would, if I were Tony Khan, I would inquire about him. I would see what, is where the chips fall, and I'm sure there's a lot of chips. So maybe don't push them all in. So maybe
push
take them. Exactly. Maybe take them all out.
No,
all right.
It would be silliness. Spend the money on a young guy who's going to be a full-timer.
Yeah. Marcus, how do these fine folks follow you on Twitter? And are you going to post pictures of your man cave further on Twitter?
You can find me at Marcus P. D'Angelo. And once the wall of wrestling figures is complete, which might be years from now, I will post.
Years?
I don't know. I mean, these figures are expensive, dude. So like, there's one in particular that I'm thinking of that's like probably $200 or more, and I'm like, that's a lot of money. I'm gonna have to really save up the schmeckles to get there.
And now I know which figure this in particular is because you told me about it. Do you want to share this with the audience?
No, I don't want people trying to snipe that figure, Dom. I'm afraid not.
Wow.
Just driving up the price.
Are you gonna get some AEW figures in on the mix?
I don't think so. I'm really more sentimental when it comes to the 98, 97 era, maybe a little bit of the 99 era of WCW. So that's why I've got those hung on my wall. That was like a peak fandom for me. So that, as I love AEW, I think it's great, but like, I'm not a fan. I'm still a fan. I'm not a fan the same way I was in 98, 99. Not even close.
All right, let's go this way. If you had to pick one AEW figure to hang on your wall, who would you get?
It would be Cody.
Cody, nice.
Yep. Ideally, that one of 500 Cody would be nice.
With the Nightmare Family vest on, right?
No, he's wearing like that Star Trek shirt that he wore at All Out, I think.
I thought he was wearing a Nightmare Family vest.
No, it was. So the gear is what he wore at Double or Nothing that you and I were at in Vegas. But he's wearing a shirt that I believe is from All In.
Okay. Okay, interesting. How about that? All right, cool, man. Wait, did you just say how they follow? Yeah, you said.
Yeah, Marcus P. D'Angelo. Dama, how do they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Dominic D'Angelo. Follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. Yeah, check out the Thunder Rosa podcast interview that's coming up. That'll be dropping next week. Take a look. The article's already up of her previewing her match against Hikaru Shida at AEW All Out. And also be on the lookout for a little feature piece. I got to interview comedian Ron Funches, who's a big wrestling fan today. So it'll be a little bit... I'm looking forward to writing that up. He's had some interesting takes and insight. He's a very smart wrestling fan and like is super invested into it. So really cool to get his perspective on things.
And hilarious.
And hilarious. He was funny. He was funny. He had a zinger that popped me during the interview. So as far as everything else goes, make sure you tune in to WrestleZone podcast. Subscribe to that. That's where you'll get this. That's where you get all the other stuff with Kevin Kellum and Robert DeFelice as they do their WrestleZone Daily podcast. And, be on the lookout this weekend for All Out. Kevin is hosting like a watch-along, almost, like a live watch-along that you can tune into and give your comments and feedback as you watch All Out going on. So pretty cool stuff. We got a lot of cool stuff going on at AEW, at WrestleZone. Editor Bill Pritchard just interviewed none other than the number one contender for the AEW World Championship, MJF. And he actually gave Bill some props on Twitter, believe it or not.
I saw
that. He babyfaced Bill Pritchard.
His game at Bill as a babyface, which is incredible.
It was unbelievable. He really appreciated that Bill didn't have a foreign accent. So that's kind of nice, I guess.
That seems like a random thing to me. I feel like I need the backstory on that.
Okay. So he got interviewed by Kenny McIntosh of Inside the Ropes from across the pond, so to speak. So MJF was not appreciative of trying to decipher what Kenny was saying from time to time, I believe. So that's where the classic heel move. So, all right, Marcus, you know what? You're a fucking heel too.
Yes.
So let's I just want to get away from you right now, so we'll just close out the podcast. Story's over. You're gonna owe me $10 of something I want wrestling related on eBay. It's gonna happen.
Dominic, next time we record, you're going to be hanging your head in shame.
Will I? Will I? We'll find out about that.
So.
Okay.
And audience, you'll find out on the next 2 Dynamite Dudes with Attitude. Signing off.
Episode 11. So 1-1.
Bye, guys.
See ya.